Okay, we're discussing here Pinocchio. I have this book, Pinocchio. I have this book in two languages. I have it in English and I have it in Russian. It's a very interesting book because I tried to find this book in Hebrew, but for some reason I couldn't. Um, the bookstores don't carry Pinocchio in Hebrew. I was trying to find the full text, the integral text of Pinocchio in Hebrew, and I couldn't find the translation. So I'm creating this book, the Pinocchio. I am rewriting the book in simplified English, in different levels, because I want to. I'm doing this for my son. I have a son who is almost 4 years old, and he is a very mischievous boy. And Pinocchio is a book about a mischievous boy who gets in trouble a lot. I encountered this book as a child, when I was a little girl in the Soviet Union. I encountered this book. There was a movie, a very famous movie by which was created by the Soviet studio. I don't remember the name of the studio, Moscow Pictures or something like that. And the Russian version of Pinocchio is called Buratino, and it's a musical. It was a great musical. I loved it as a child. It had great songs. It was made into a theater and a movie. And I remember growing up, I saw the movie, and then I read the book. I read the book in Russian. Actually, not this one. I got it later on here in bookstores, but it's a great book. I think it's a book. It's a book made for children, but I think it's a book for all ages. And it's a book about childhood, about about growing up. It's a book about growing up, about being a child, and about growing up. And I have it in two languages. I have it in Russian and in English. And in addition, I'm trying to find the book in Hebrew, because my son is growing up in Israel, so obviously I wanted to find in Hebrew because he's Hebrew speaking, and I hope to find the book in Hebrew. So I'm creating this little series of Pinocchio in different levels. I teach English through, my idea is to teach English through classical literature. That's what I loved when I was a child. I loved classics. I loved, all the Tolstoy and Alexander Dumas and all the classical literature that I could find in libraries. And I grew up on it. And then when I came to Israel, I encountered these books in English, because when I was growing up, actually, it's very interesting. When I was growing up in Soviet Union, it was very difficult to get a book in English like this. Like, for example, to find a book based on, let's say, Pinocchio or any other classical book, like Three Musketeers or, Dickens, David Copperfield, the books by Dickens, by Charles Dickens, David Copperfield, or the books by Jane Austen, Emma, or any other book. It was very difficult to get them in English. The bookstores did not carry um, books in English. It was possible to get books in Russian, but in a Russian translation, but it wasn't possible to get a book in the original language. And I loved books. I loved reading. I was a good girl. I liked to study, and my dream was, as a child, my dream was to read these books in the original language. And later on, when I came to Israel with my parents, and in the 90s, we came to Israel in 1991, in 1991, I found these books in English, and I was so excited because they were just available. I mean, they were everywhere, in every bookstore, on every counter, in a bookshop. These books were available in English and French, whatever you want. Just read them. And it was amazing because I remember growing up when actually it was not so. So now my son is growing up, and I hope he loves reading. I don't know him, and he's still very young, but I hope he will like reading the books. But I'm trying to make it easier for him because I was reading from this. I mean, I remember when I came to Israel, I was about 14, and I had to read this. Like, I had to take the book. I knew some English from school, but not like, it wasn't my native language. And I had to read like these books from the full text, from the integral text. I didn't have any simplified texts or any adapted texts. It was later on that I could find adaptations and learn and read more. But it was not easy. It was a process. It took me several years to get to be able to read a book in English in integral text, full text. So, and that's actually, when I was thinking about this, I thought that that's what a child is growing through. When a child grows up, he's picking up all these new words. I mean, it takes time until he starts making sentences, until he starts to speak, and until he starts to say a full sentence in his native language. It takes time. But I'm trying to. I don't like. I see what he watches on the internet. I see the modern movies. I see the modern modern pictures. I mean, movies, pictures. It's all about robots and Spider-Man and all these characters that have all these machines and guns, and but I actually miss this naive, this I miss the characters from these books. The Pinocchio is a child, and he gets himself into trouble because he's naive, because he's mischievous, because he doesn't listen, and you don't see that today. You don't see that. You don't see the modern pictures, the modern movies. They're all about robots and cars and violence and being strong and fast and driving a car on a high speed. And that's what the child sees. I don't see children today reading classical literature, and I think they miss out because they miss on first of all, they don't have this in the modern movies. They don't have the language. They don't have the proper language, which let's say if you read the book by Charles Dickens, you read proper English. And today you don't have that a lot. I mean, what we read today is more simplified. It's all quick and and be fast and get everywhere on time. I don't know. It's different. I like the classical books, the classical literature, and I think a child can benefit a lot from them because they teach you the basics. They teach you the basic stuff in human relationships, in human. They teach you basic stuff on basic human issues. To be good, not to lie, because Pinocchio lies a lot, and then his nose becomes very long. It becomes big. A few words about Carlo Collodi. So Carlo Collodi is a pen name of Carlo Lorenzini. Carlo Collodi or Carlo Lorenzini was born in November in 1826, and he's better known by the pen name of Carlo Collodi. He was an Italian author, humorist, and journalist, and he is widely known for his fairy tale novel, The Adventures of Pinocchio. And that's what we're going to read. And we're going to get the culture. I mean, it's a book that was written in the 19th century. Yeah, we live now in 2023. And we drive fast cars today, and our life is all about our jobs and careers and getting ahead. But this is a different century. It's the 19th century, and we have a person who was born in Florence. Yeah, he was born in a duchy, in a grand duchy of Tuscany, and he died in Florence in the Kingdom of Italy. Okay, Kingdom of Italy. So we're talking about. It's a different time. It's a different time. It's a different time, a different perception of life. And I think it's good for a child to read something like that because it gives you a perspective on our life today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to read Pinocchio chapter by chapter, and we're going to address different human issues that Carlo Collodi is discussing in the book. And along the way, we're going to study grammar. We're going to study basic grammar, basic English grammar. But we'll do it through text. We'll do it with the help of this great book, which was written by Carlo Collodi.